joined here by my friend Buana.
Hello.
And Buana, can you tell us where you're from in Indonesia? There's thousands of islands here.
Oh yeah. Hi, my name is Buana, but you can call me Buana. I was born in southern Sumatra, which is in Bandar Lampung, but I raised up here. So I was born in there for just few months, and then my parents brought me to Bali. So I live in Tabanan, which is 30 minutes away from Canggu.
Awesome.
Yeah.
The really interesting thing about Bali is they call this the island of the gods, don't they?
Well, yeah. Actually, there are many people call it in different way. Some call us like thousands of temple, islands of gods, island of offerings, many things.
And Balinese people are mostly Hindu, is that correct?
Yeah, it is. So basically, the entire Indonesia is a Hindu. During the Kutai Kingdom in Borneo, the first Hindu kingdom in Indonesia, and then its belief spread throughout the nation. And then during the fallen of the Hindu kingdom in Majapahit, so there are a lot of people who still follow the Hindu culture and beliefs. They run away to Bali because of the civil war, and the other kings already died during the battlefield, and no one can rule the kingdom.
Yeah. So
And then they just run away to Bali, and they are now live and having family here until to this day. But in Bali itself, we have our own original Hindu here. I mean, the people who already in this island outside of those kingdoms area.
okay, because I've understood that the cultural traditions and the religious practices of the Balinese, even though it's Hindu, it's different than what we would call like mainland India Hindu.
Yeah.
For example, there's a god I saw a sculpture of, and it looked like Ganesh. It had this elephant trunk, but I was told it's a god named Ogo Ogo.
Ogogo is not a god. Actually, it's a demon. So we make the big Ogo Ogo the day before Silent Day. So during the Silent Day, we just want to put all of the bad spirits and the demons around the area to be vanished. And then we just make them as a big giant doll, and then we do the parade, and then we burn them in the end.
And each village or area makes their own Ogo Ogo,
Yeah.
and they parade it around, and it
Yes.
represents a different like sin or different thing that's considered like not good. Like there's
Yeah.
one like for abortion, and there's other types of ones as well.
Yeah. But actually, this kind of demon represent of the, the seven sins of the human.
Okay. Gluttony, and
Yeah,
these kind of things.
greed, and also being, rough. Whenever you see this giant ogo, they look like scary.
Yeah, the wild hair and the big
Yeah.
teeth.
Yeah, it represents of the bad deeds of the human, because the only way we can express it through this big demon giant,
So when they believe that these bad characteristics, these bad morals of people, these evil things, do they blame Ogo Ogo, or do they say that he just is a representation, like he is what symbolizes it? How do they view him as a demon, or as a belief of this is what people are in bad way?
Well, it can be in these two. You can make it as a human bad deeds, and the other you can make it as the demons on the legend stories.
And the night of silence.
Yeah.
So describe that to me, because what I heard was that
Okay.
even foreigners and tourists, like, there's no flying in the Denpasar airport. There's no lights on in the city. Everyone has to stay inside. Well, can you just tell me a little bit about that?
Okay, so the silent day itself, which means the celebration of the New Year in Bali for the Hindu. And in that day, we just need to pray and to rethink what we done in the past. So in that day, we have to keep quiet, we meditate, we don't go outside, we also fast. But you can also not fasting sometimes. Not everyone can take it. And also we do the not turning on the lights or fire, going out, working, and no pleasure. I mean, no entertain.
You just
So,
sit with yourself, or you sit
yeah,
with your family.
yeah. For the Hindu people here, they actually stay calm, not talking to another, even inside their house, and then they just sit in the house's temple. So every house in Bali has its own family temple. So they just sit there and pray, and then maybe they just read the Veda and the Bhagavad Gita, and also they meditate and to rethink. Oh, I've been doing bad a few years ago. I've been bad for last month, last week. So in this new year, in silent day, I promise I will be the good person.
So it's kind of similar in the Western tradition to the concept of like a New Year's resolution. Like, this year, I'm going to do this different, or I want to not do this anymore. It's kind of like a promise to yourself, or is it you make this promise to the gods?
Well, both.
Both.
Yeah, so you cannot just make a promise if you cannot fulfill it. Otherwise, it will be your death in the future, or maybe your next generation will suffer. Because in Bali, you cannot just like, oh, I will be this person next year or tomorrow. You have to follow what you say. The karma will turn back against you.
And there's the problem also with you have this night of silence. If somebody say, okay, like, I don't believe, I don't care, because it's island wide. Are there like police or people who patrol in the streets who make sure nobody's out and walking around?
Oh yeah, we have it here. So for 24 hours, there is a traditional police called Pacalang. They always roaming around during the silent day to make sure people not going out, or maybe they're making noise, or maybe turning on the lights or fire. So they will be in every corner patrolling to the alleyway, because in Bali they have many alleys.
Yes.
Yeah, so they have to go inside. And I experienced it myself when I was children, and my mother has no choice, but she has to cook, because we just have newborn baby, which is my twin sister. She wants to make hot water, and then the neighbor listens, but they just keep quiet. They know, and then suddenly there is a pacalang patrolling in the alleyway, and then they like telling us, can you just not doing that? And then my mom told him, I'm sorry, I have a baby, she needs some milk, I need to make hot water, because we don't have electric kettle, so we boil water with stove. Oh yeah, it's alright. And then we just understand each other.
Okay.
But if you are not in such kind of important thing like you
playing
having,
music or something
yeah,
like
then
that.
you will be in trouble.
And how do
There's
they
also
observe?
exceptions.
Because if they're patrolling, how are they observing this tradition?
Oh well, it's their duty
So they're
because
protected because it's their duty.
yeah, because not everyone can become pecalang because it's chosen in every village.
Ah.
So when they chosen to become pecalang, they have to swear I will be like I will be the best police in here, and then I will not gonna make problem, and I will spend my entire life to become pecalang, even though you're getting older.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of people in Bali they become pecalang when they are already retired, or maybe they don't have a lot of activities outside, so they just spend their time in the village area. So they will spend most of their time in the neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something else that interests me is the other night we were talking about how if it wasn't for World War II, that Indonesia would have never became a country,
Yeah.
because Pearl Harbor was attacked by Japan, and then America fired back, and in that whole process, Japan retreating, and then the Dutch pulled back as well, which were colonizing Indonesia. How did, when the Dutch were originally colonizing, how did that change local traditions and religious beliefs? And after they left, were things different, or did they go back to the same?
No, we never changed
You never changed, even with
from
that.
the beginning till
Really?
this day. But during the occupation from the Dutch and the Japan, we're having significant problem for celebrating our own holidays and doing the you know the prayers, because almost every corner here are being
Restricting
oppressed.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
because they always think that oh, the local here plan something against us, but we just go to the temple and pray. But they see us when we gather in a place, maybe in temple or maybe in the public area, and when people gather and they will stand together, and it
Yeah.
will make those colonizers,
Concern them.
yeah, but we just doing our basic life,
Yeah.
we don't even think about war. They just come here and make everything bad.
And when things changed at some point, because Bali is still mainly Hindu practicing faith, but the surrounding islands, like in Java and Lombok as well, I imagine, and just all around, is mostly Islam-based faith, correct?
Yeah.
So how did that change? At what point did that change? Where they became Muslim?
Oh yeah. So after the fallen of the Majapahit kingdom, which is the biggest kingdom of Hindu in Indonesia, and then when every civil wars happened in every region in Indonesia, and then when every kings died and slain in the battlefield, no one is able to to lead every territorial, and then one by one they just run away and flee, and there's no power in that territory. It makes the people live like, oh, I can go on my own, there is no ruler here, so I can just travel, no one is really forcing us to do anything. And then during the no leader, the people from Arabs, from India, and also from Persia, they come to Indonesia to trade, just like the Portuguese and the Netherlands.
Yeah.
But they only come here to trade. They came to the Malaysia, and then they enter to Indonesia, and a lot of them, you know, the good Muslim is always praying 5 times a day. Whenever they are, wherever they live, they always do the prayers.
So the people saw this.
Yeah, the people saw them doing the act, and then the people was like, "Oh, what are you doing? You know,
Ah.
we never seen such kind of thing like you did here."
So it wasn't a forced conversion. It
No,
was
no,
more
it's
the
like
people were
it's-
curious.
Yeah, people were curious, and those people are explaining, "Oh, this is Islam. We are from Arab, and then this is how we pray. This is our beliefs, and also it makes them curious. It's very different the way we do it in here because we have to make a lot of ceremonials and offerings with the incense sticks, blah blah, blah. And then the people when they see Islam, oh, they're simple. It's not that hard to follow, and then they start to try it. They start to copy what they're doing, and then these people look at them and they think, oh, maybe this is the correct time to spread the beliefs because the Islam itself has to be in this way when we want to promote our own religion without war or physically force or something. And then in Indonesia now, between the Hindu and the Islam itself, we make like mixing culture. If you go to Java, people in there is 98% is Muslims, but they still practicing the old Hindu culture with the incense sticks, with the coals, we burn it, and then we just make offerings to the mountain or for the sea.
Do they call the mountains and the sea like gods, or how do they? Because I know some of the volcanoes, like in Java, they recently had this ceremony where people were bringing livestock and like money and candies and vegetables and crops, and they're throw into the volcano.
Yeah.
Is
So-
they're worshiping the volcano?
Well, in Hindu beliefs, we do believe that in every place in this earth is sacred, especially the mountains. And the mountain itself bring us life. They give us air, trees, animals who can live there. And then the way we being grateful to the maker is by giving the offerings to the mountain, because in Hindu itself we categorize every place as sacred. For example, the mountain and the beaches and the rivers.
It's not just sacred, but it's you're worshiping like gods, or as they would call Brahma.
Yeah.
You're worshiping this sacred place as Brahma, or you're worshiping it as a separate god, a separate being.
Well, we don't actually worship the mountains. This is the way we being grateful. you know?
Okay, so it's not worship.
No,
it's
no.
just gratitude for
Yeah,
what
the
you
gratitude. Yeah, a lot of people are mistaken us. Oh, the Hindu are worshiping the statue. They're worshiping the mountains and stuff. But if they look it deeply and if they are learning from us, then they will understand, because this kind of thing make people always say differently. And most of the time, whenever we want to explain them, they just don't get it. Just like when the Islam tells the other religion, they would just don't get it, you know.
have. Right, right.
Yeah, and then just keep this as the way we do our tradition and the religion. But of course, the religion must be always on top. You cannot put the culture on the top of the religion,
Right.
because you will, pray to the wrong god. Yeah, a lot of people think that, oh, why you pray to the statue? No, it's not. This is the symbolize.
It's a symbol.
Yeah, because no one can draw the look like of the god itself. No one ever saw a god, even it's Brahma, Vishnu, or Shiva. The people just make it as a picture, drawings.
Something to connect to.
Yeah. So it's different when we talk about Islam. We are not even allowed to draw the Prophet Muhammad's face.
Ah, yeah, I've heard of
Yeah.
backlash,
Yeah.
like when
In
they had that
Hebrew,
Family Guy
yeah.
episode, and they
Yeah.
were gonna show Muhammad, and they,
Oh, well.
everyone was going. They were very angry about
Of
it
course, it's dangerous
because it's forbidden. You cannot draw
Yeah.
the face.
because if the Prophet Muhammad itself is the best creation from the God in the Islam beliefs. So we just represent the Muhammad itself with the name. Even when you make a movie about Muhammad, you have the actor. His face will be gone, and we replace it by the light.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
even
see.
to any other prophet, or let's say Prophet Isa. So in Christian they call it Jesus.
Yeah.
In Muslim we call it Prophet Isa. We always make the face of the actor with the
Like
light.
the light, blinding
Yeah,
light.
to respect the prophet because they are the messenger of God.
And you're choosing. You've already become Muslim, or you're choosing to become Muslim.
Well, I started practicing Islam before I got married, but I still not really sure because of my family background and the neighbor, and also the way of my life itself. So I keep looking my own faith back then, and also I have a lot of my friends who are from Java, and also the people who are Muslims in Bali. So I have bigger connection with them, and I also have a lot of friends which is Hindu in Bali. But for me, I prefer to get close to the Muslim friends. I don't know. I just being connected to them easily. Besides, my family background is also not the same religion when they got married. Yeah, my father is a Hindu and my mom is a Muslim. So when they got married, my mom has to follow my father's beliefs. So she converted to become a Hindu, and then they fly to Bali and they continue their marriage life.
Do you feel like it's very common when it comes to marriage that people here in Indonesia are choosing to convert from Hindu to Islam, or more so because of the flow of marriage, or they're not necessarily wanting to, or they're not choosing that for themselves, but it's like they feel they have to?
Well, we cannot always say that it's under their intentions or someone forced them because we don't even know what they've been thinking.
Fair enough.
And also, when the children was born to this earth, and then they don't even know what is religion.
Right.
So basically, the family itself give the religion to them, like they being doctrinated from the family.
It's
This-
common in
yeah.
the West as well,
Yeah,
Christianity.
Yeah, it's a lot of cases like this happen. Someone born in the Hindu family, someone born in the Christian or the Muslim family, and then when they grow up, they know how the world is, and then they start to think, "Oh, I've been doing this in the wrong way. I do believe in this religion, or this religion, or maybe I'm not gonna believe to anything."
Yeah, that's I think universal. Everyone can
Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah, but in Indonesia itself, it's kind of weird if someone has no religion because we've been lived as a person with religion.
Atheism is very strange here.
Yeah, so any kind of the Western culture here, we see it as a weird.
And how is the tourism industry in Bali over the past 20 years? How has this affected the old customs and traditions and religious beliefs of the Balinese? Like, have they, like, clinging? Like, are they holding more onto their traditions, or are they becoming a little more gentrified? I mean, what has been your experience? How do you see it?
We have a lot of change for the last 20 years or 30 years, especially in the temple. You know, back in the time, it was not that easy because the time we have today, this year, every roads in Bali are getting better, and also it impacts our tourism itself. So when the tourism becomes so big in Bali, people will start to become easy, and then they can make a lot of ceremonials because of that. You know, there is like they can give circulation.
So they can get more donation to temple
Yeah,
and
you know,
things like
whenever you
this.
see the tourists, they go to the temple, and some of them will give the charity to the box
Hmm.
as their will.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
also the ticket to enter the destination is also works as a donation itself.
So it's helping.
Yeah, it's good, but sometimes people just step over to the something that they should do. For example, the world today, we have social media like Instagram, Facebook, or anything. So the people now who come to Bali, they don't need a guide. So they just enter the sacred place, and then they take a picture for the Insta without any clothes in their body.
Oh, I've heard of this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this make a clash between us and the tourists.
And don't they have to do, like, for the Hindu ceremonies? If they know about this, if this happened, don't they have to go to that sacred spot and perform special ceremony,
Yeah.
like for forgiveness for what happened
Yeah,
there?
so this will be considered as our own mistake because we don't taking good care of the sacred place because
Even though it wasn't you.
yeah, the tourists, they don't know anything. They just see it as a nature. For example, they naked in the big trees and they taking a picture. Meanwhile, the local people itself, they don't really care. It's not that they don't really care about. I mean, they just don't know what they're doing there. But
Yeah.
of course, it will be on our
So,
problem.
so once you find out, you
Yeah,
see
that's our
posts like that.
responsibility to
Mm.
to clean it in a religious way. You know, we have to make a forgiveness ceremonial. We need to ask forgiveness to the spirits who lives in that area because we've been act so wrong. For example, you have a house and then someone just enter to your house naked and dancing and such kind of what you guys doing here? What the hell are you doing here? And then
Why
you
are you
feel
in my
like
house?
disrespected and you start being angry. But if these spirits angry to the local and we don't want they make anything bad,
It's like the
No.
spirit gets mad at you because it's in your
Yeah.
house, but you're like,
yeah, they will give
I
us
didn't invite them.
Yeah.
They came and did this, but they get mad at you anyway.
Yeah. So you are responsible for this because you are the local. You are the owner of this island, you know. So you have to protect this. Who gonna protect if it's not from us? So they will blame it to us. And also, I think the people in Bali they should make every sacred places covered. I mean, make a barricade,
So
make a
people know.
bigger sign, and maybe they have to put it in many languages so people can understand. Or they should put someone like a guardian around. Yeah, just like to go to the castle in UK. They're guarded by the
Yeah, it's
the-
very well known. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
you know,
Um,
you cannot just enter yourself without behaving good.
so with the tourism industry, understand that it's like about 70% of the economic growth and economy of Bali. Um, Before you had tourism, what, what did Bali look like before there were foreigners flocking here as like an ideal destination to travel?
Well, Bali is different compared to any islands in Indonesia. It started to become famous. I think it was during 1960 or 1970s.
And back then, people weren't even going to Java or
Yeah,
Lombok or
and
Nusa Penida.
so when the first president of Indonesia, he came to Bali and they see it as a beautiful place, and also his biological mother is also a Balinese woman, and then he he think that oh Bali will become a good destination for the tourism, and he built the first five-star hotel in Kuta. Maybe it's around 1980 or 1970.
But the hotels can't be above 5 stories, right? Because it can't be higher than a certain place.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think it's like that tall. Maybe 3 stories.
3 stories,
Yeah.
and that's across the whole island. No
Yeah.
building can be more than 3 stories
Yeah,
tall.
yeah. Because we have a rule in Bali that you cannot be taller than the coconut trees. Yeah, it's like a saying. You cannot be higher than the nature itself. You have to be limit. You know your own limit. If you are keep going up, and you're out of control, and you know what happens.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's just about control yourself, just not being greedy.
And then as far as the other types of like statues I see, um, they're not all ogo ogo, but they look like a demon face. These like two twin ones in front of a lot of the temples. What are
They
what are
they represent the guardian.
the guardians.
Yeah, in Bali, we're known as a artistic island.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we make everything so nicely carved, and we put detail in every single thing. If no matter it's a statue or the house or maybe the temple or even the smaller thing like if you want to put the decoration light in your garden, we always make it detailed. And this kind of carving, we follow how the Chinese and the Japanese doing it.
Interesting.
If you see that the top of the roof, it likes a crown. It looks like a crown.
Yeah.
And also,
It's almost
yeah.
temple-like.
yeah, we basically follow the Japanese architecture and the Chinese. And also, if you see, there's another dance called Barong dance. Yeah, so Barong dance represent a lion. So we make two persons inside the lion, and they do the performance like in China. The Barong performance in China with the lion head.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah, they can blinking if they are.
all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, but in Bali we make it in different way, and we just make it on our own culture. And in here we also have the same model with a big head. We call it Barong Bangkok.
Yeah,
We-
I've seen like the lion and like a lot of
Yeah.
like painted on a lot of buildings.
Yeah,
a little
and
statue
also
of
on
his
the
head,
shirt.
and-
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very popular.
Yeah,
here.
for the Barong Bangkok, the big Barong, we always do the performance during the Galungan and Kuningan Day. We celebrate it twice a year,
And what's
every
the
6 months.
importance of that?
So the
holiday?
Galungan Day is the day the winning Dharma against Adharma. It's like the winning the goodness against the evil.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's a big day in
Day
Bali.
to celebrate.
Yeah, we celebrate twice a year.
Good, yeah. Twice is better than once.
Yeah.
And is there anything that you would want people to know, like in closing, like any kind of final words you'd just like to share about Bali or Indonesia or even just yourself?
Okay, for the people who haven't come to Bali, I just wanna say something that keep the Bali safe from any kind of act that you don't even know here. Try to become a good visitors and learn before you come here. Please find informations about us. Never even try to rent a scooter when you never do it back home, because a lot of cases happen here because of the no experience of riding bikes or scooters.
And the roads are very small.
Yeah, the roads very small, man. It's crazy here. And also, if you come to Bali, just don't forget to choose which place you want to go, and don't always think Bali is a party place. You're wrong. Bali is a cultural place to visit, and we are remain famous since the last 50 years for without party. A lot of your grandparents maybe came to Bali. They only come here to see the beaches, the rice fields, and the kindness of the local here. Maybe you cannot find it back home. Maybe there is no coconut trees at your house. They just come here to get that simple things. It's a piece of heaven. A little. There's some more things that you don't know about Bali. Always ask the locals. They know the best.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Buana. I really appreciate you,
Yeah,
man.
man.
You're a good friend of
Pleasure.
mine.